story begins not too long ago. I decided to use my computer skills to run a small darknet forum mainly just to share information without censorship. At first, I was extremely paranoid about my site being hacked and having privacy being compromised, so I went online and began to research everything that I would need to ensure my own safety. After countless days of searching blogs, forums, and other material, I decided I was ready now. I didn't have any money, so I couldn't just
Wait,
buy a VPS and host site.
I was thinking, like, what street is this? Like, I've seen multiple different channels, like these horror narration channels, use this picture, and I know it because of it's royalty free. But like, what street is this? Like, what town is this? It kind of looked like somewhere in like the northeast part of the United States, probably like a Pennsylvania or somewhere like that. I just like it's like people. I see these images. And I was like, where is this from? Like, why this? I mean, it does
So I
look kind of
decided to use mobile laptop.
unsettling. I
But
would say
after all, I
spooky.
wasn't planning on running a major website. So after setting the server up, and what I thought was literally every single thing I could do to harden it against an attack, I put the site online. Everything went great for a couple of months. Donations rolled in as the user base grew larger and larger. After around 5 months, the user base had gotten so big, I had to upgrade and migrate everything to a new PC, which I built just to host the forum. And from there,
Yeah, well, I guess he
everything
making
seemed
money
perfect.
from it, and yeah.
The site was running smoothly, and there were no issues with the migration until one day, when I came home, I noticed the PC had frozen. I didn't think much about it. Maybe just a software bug caused it, so I rebooted it, and that's when it was clear to me that something was wrong with the PC. The PC lit up, and it beeped a few times, then shut off. So I thought to myself, okay, it's a hardware issue. After a few hours trying to diagnose the issue, I figured it out, and it turned out that the RAM had been corrupted. I took it back to the store since it was still under warranty. The customer service rep just told me it might have just been a faulty stick. So when I got home, I replaced the stick of RAM and had the site back up running within a few hours. Everything seemed to be perfect again. I apologized to the users for the downtime, and everyone seemed to be happy. Fast forward a few
Somebody
months,
already in there.
the
They
forum's
already.
been up and running for around a year. Well, maybe a year and a half. Now this is when everything started to get really weird. I finished work on a Friday. It was a gorgeous day in the middle of the summer. I came home and got something to eat, and I sat down in front of my PC and I noticed I had a message. Upon opening the message, I realized somewhere I messed up. I don't really know why anybody would actually target me. The message had my details from my name, address, bank details, passwords,
Whoa.
private emails, private messages,
Damn.
and everything nearly from every single device I owned. I freaked out and immediately took the PC offline, turned my internet off. But little did I know, this guy had done his research. After a couple of hours pacing my room, I received a text message.
It's too late now. Got
I know
everything.
everything about you. The message was sent via some type of SMS service, so there was no way to trace it. And then my phone rang.
Okay, this dude just fucking with
Don't
you.
talk, just listen. I know everything there is to know about you, and all I want is 2 Bitcoin, or things will get worse. I'll send you a text with the wallet details. The phone call ended just as quickly as it started. I opened my laptop up, checked my Bitcoin wallet, and there was enough left over from the donations just to pay this guy off.
Oh, he
I
knew
hoped
that.
would be the end of it.
He knew that.
So I entered the guy's
That's why he
details
has
and
for
took the
2
payment.
Bitcoin.
Then my phone rang again. Thank you for complying. Unfortunately, someone I know really likes you. He hung up. Panicking, I tried calling the number back.
What?
An automated message began to play. The number you have dialed has not been recognized. A few hours passed, and I began to think to myself, well, maybe the last call was just having fun, and decided after a long day.
I got the money, but somebody I know likes you.
Sometime
so
around
they
2
they
a.m.,
gonna
I
come
was woken up by the
torch
sound
you.
of banging at my front door. I jumped out of bed and I turned on all of my lights, grabbing a knife from the kitchen. I walked slowly toward the window.
It's the
and looked
police.
out. I could see someone standing by a
Oh,
car.
that was the
And they
police.
spotted me. They got in and they drove off. I rushed to the door. And
Okay,
hoped
so
I might
they
be able to get the
just
license plate, but
playing
by the time
pranks
I
on this
opened it,
dude?
they'd already turned the corner. As I turned, I noticed an envelope on the floor. I picked it up, went back inside and locked the door. I closed the curtains and sat in the kitchen. I placed the envelope on the counter, stared at it for around half an hour, trying to muster up the courage to open it. Did these guys really come to my home? I thought to myself. After that 30 minutes was up, I decided enough was enough. I opened up the envelope, and pictures fell out onto the counter. They were of me sleeping.
Oh,
These guys had not only been outside my
God.
house,
What the
they'd been
fuck?
inside while I was sleeping.
Wow.
The images had been edited. Strange love hearts had been added next to me.
Oh, God.
So now I was sufficiently freaked out.
Hey, it's time to move.
I didn't go back to sleep, and when the sun broke darkness, I decided to head to the police station and tell them everything. I hadn't broken any laws, so I hoped they would just help me. At least after hours of explaining everything to them, they told me there was nothing they could do. At this point,
Get
I
the
had
fuck
never
out.
felt so alone in the world and helpless. I was scared of what this guy was planning. I didn't have the foggiest idea of what I was supposed to do or expect, so I decided to wipe everything off my laptop, off my PC, and my phone.
And
I picked up
move.
everything that I needed, stuffed it all into a bag, and decided to leave.
Yes.
I had a couple of friends that I knew I could rely on, so I called up my buddy Marcus, and we met, had a few beers, and I explained everything to him. He offered me a place to stay, and I hoped that would be the end of it. I was definitely wrong.
Oh, fuck.
A few days later,
They
it
just
happened again.
fucking with this dude.
There was a knock at the door, first thing in the morning. Marcus and I both went out to find another envelope.
How
on
the
floor.
fuck they know where you
Same
at?
thing. Pictures of me sleeping, but these were in Marcus's house.
Oh, my. How would it
Freaking
get
out
in your
again, and Marcus
house?
just said, "Okay, we need to do something. Maybe set a trap or something."
Said a trap. This ain't
And
Home
we had
Alone.
numerous ideas. Everything you could think of, from cameras to baiting him. And we settled on the idea of staying up during the night and locking him in the room. We filled the bed up with pillows, set up cameras, and even barred the windows in the room. We hid in the room next to the door. After a few hours had passed, we heard the lock rattling on the front
How
door,
they find if he wiped
and we
everything?
knew it was
Is
gangster.
it someone just following him?
We'd left the door just slightly ajar so we could see outside. As he went past, and the moment he went into the room, we both sprung to action as quickly as possible. We closed the door and locked it from the outside using a chair and metal bar. There was only one way he was getting out. He'd have to destroy the door. We could see the silhouette of him as he paced the room, quietly. It was creepy. We called the police as we kept an eye on him. At last I thought I can finish this and move on with my life. Just as the police arrived, we noticed this guy take a gun out,
Oh boy.
place it to his head, then he held up a sign which read, "I love you," and he pulled the trigger. The police barged in, guns drawn, and told us both to get on the floor.
The fuck?
We complied and shouted out that he's in there, pointing at the door. The police removed the makeshift lock and entered the room, called for an ambulance, and put me and Marcus in the back of a police car. I sat in the interview room for a good couple of hours. I guess while they carried out the investigation, when the detective came in and sat down in front of me, opening a folder, placing pictures on the table. "Do you know her?" "Her?" I said, looking at the pictures, and I told him no. He looked at me and said, "This is the person who's been stalking you." And he then began to tell me that they visited her room and found a shrine with photos of me all over the place, from restaurants to the gym and even shopping.
No, yeah,
He
she
went
was
on to tell
following
me
your ass.
She'd been the one that sent the messages, made the phone calls, etc. They also found a diary which had some kind of future plans for me and her.
Well, then why did
She
she?
wanted me to be her husband, and we've been chatting for around a year and a half. After I explained everything, the detective said I was lucky to be alive. She had actually planned to drug me and kidnap me. She had even had some makeshift lock bed so I wouldn't be able to escape. To this day, I feel lucky and I haven't been on a dark web ever since.
So wait a minute, was she the one that asked for the Bitcoin? So why she asked for that? Cause he said she's the one who sent all the messages and everything. So
this happened 15 years ago.
Maybe she just needed some money or something.
And enjoyed playing online games. I find
A woman that likes playing online games, impossible.
Try a few. This was just a bit before I discovered Facebook. I should warn that some of the sites were, well, rather buggy, and safety options weren't always available. To go on any that was unfamiliar carried risk of viruses and malware. One day I was bored, so I decided to find a game site. I typed in the search bar, cool not boring games, or shooting games.
Cool not boring.
On the selection I saw the words, games of death. I had and have morbid mindset, so I clicked the words. For about a minute, my screen was blank. I couldn't see anything. Suddenly, the screen lit up with the words, "Hi there. Want to see someone die? Click submit button to continue."
I'm good.
The words were red and dripped like blood. I almost laughed at how silly the site looked. I just stared at the screen for a moment.
His morbid curiosity
I noticed
make
that
you
the
click on
submit
it.
button was starting to blink. The words changed, becoming, "Oh, what's wrong? Scared? Don't be. It's just a game. Don't be shy. Click the button now, please." With a sigh, I clicked the button. What I saw looked like a bad cartoon. 3 characters crudely drawn. 2 were men, the other a woman. The men were drawn like cartoon bank robbers, with bandit masks and striped black and white shirts. The woman was sitting in a chair and animated to look scared, like exaggerated, over the top, shaking, trembling, and whimpering scared. The man to her left looked over, and I swear he was looking at me. Smiling, he asked,
"You want to see her die?"
His voice was like the disguised voice of a witness. 2 button options appeared on the screen, yes or no. I hesitated, wondering what the hell was going on. The man spoke again, a bit annoyed.
"Look, you clicked the link. I know you want to see what happens next. Just do it already. It's only a game."
Yeah, that
So
sounds like
click
a
the button.
real person talking.
Gulping, I clicked yes. The other man put on a butcher's apron and slid into view. He was at an operating table, complete with tools. The animation that followed hunts me still. He began by using a hacksaw, and I could hear the woman screaming. I saw everything. All I heard was gurgling noises. I almost laughed, but began to feel uneasy. The animation was gross,
yeah, I
to say
bet.
the least. The man tossed aside her head. Then the first man laughed.
"Wasn't that fun? Want to see some more?"
Wasn't
I know
that
you
fun?
do.
I'm
Curious,
like,
I
logging
clicked
off
again.
now.
Yes. Another animation.
They said, "Oh, we have all your
This
information."
one
Like,
featured 2
fuck.
men in scuba gear, while another man was wearing a business suit. He was at the edge of a large water tank, and his hands tied behind his back. The man on the left held up a sign for me to read. It said, "You want to see him die?" I hesitantly clicked yes. The other grabbed the man in the suit by his ankles and began to slide him further to the middle. The suit man was screaming hysterically, trying to squirm back. Finally, the man holding his ankles gave a hard shove, throwing the victim in with a visible and audible splash. For about 30 seconds, nothing happened. Suddenly, the suit man bobbed to the surface, still screaming hysterically. I barely saw something behind him drag him back in, taking him under the surface. Another minute later, the man resurfaced once again. He stopped screaming, but his arms were gone.
Oh,
Looked
is that
they had been caught
crocodile?
in a giant blender.
Crocodile?
The shoulders
Or
just a
alligator?
pair of shredded stumps. Then it appeared to claim its prey, a gigantic alligator.
Oh, yeah.
It clamped him to his right side and hauled him down, never resurfacing. By now, I began to feel really sick. What the hell kind of cartoons were these? It was no longer fun. Now I just wanted to get away from the sight. The screen changed once more. Now the two men were no longer animated. They were real people. On the floor near them was a woman, in the tattered remains of a badly shredded business suit. The voice was still disguised as one said.
Wasn't that fun to watch? These two wanted to see more. And they got to. Only they got to experience it. Want to experience it? You have 1 minute to comply.
No, why would I want to
Don't
experience
leave
it?
the site. You'd be taking away our fun.
I was actually scared at this point. I realized, to my horror, the animations had been done to
You
cover
looking
up
at a
behind the
snuff
progress.
video.
These murders had been pre-recorded, and silly cartoons had been done to disguise what was actually happening. 3 options appeared at this time. One said, yes, I want to experience. Another said, no, I don't want to experience. The last said, I want to meet you. I clicked no. The response was threatening.
What's wrong with you? You don't want to have fun?
Yeah, I'm
Have
all
an awesome experience.
I'm all tuckered out.
You saw us do what we did. Now choose. And it better be yes this time.
What?
Again, I clicked no and exited the site
Yeah,
successfully.
I'm like, fuck you.
My heart was pounding for a moment. Bravely, I checked my history page. The site was no longer there, disappearing without a trace.
You better say
Thankfully, I
yes,
never
like
experienced
that.
anything
You
bad
want to
from going
experience
that
it.
site,
Well, like
but never
being
explored random sites
killed
again.
or being
I never
horribly
told anyone of
maimed
that experience
or being the perpetrator. What are you
I
talking
wondered
about?
for a while, who were those 2 men? Were they ever caught? And who were their unfortunate victims? How many more did they kill, and how many more will they? The moral of the story is, only go to websites that you know, because you never know what you'll find if you dig deep enough.
I always just say no when someone says, "Hey, you want to see someone die?" No, I'm good.
This actually happened to a friend of mine in college over 10 years ago. He was a bit of a computer nerd and frequently visited many sites. For privacy, I'll call him Adam. He was 25 at the time and shared custody of his toddler daughter with his ex-girlfriend. So lonely and bored, he searched dating sites on his laptop. He suddenly saw a flash
Lonely
of
and
ads.
horny.
Single? Would you like to meet? Click here and find your match. He naively clicked it.
There are
The banner
beautiful
listed
women
was
in your
replaced
area.
with Another message. Congratulations, single lonely
Just
person.
waiting to meet
Are
up.
you a man or a woman? Click either the man or the woman symbol. He clicked the man button. It responded with, do you want to meet a man or a woman? He clicked the woman symbol.
Oh,
Finally,
you
he
want to
asked,
meet a man?
what's your name? Wanting to remain anonymous, Adam typed, Roger Jamison. The banner suddenly showed an animation of a person
Roger
shaking their head
Jamison.
left and right, as if ashamed or angry. The new banner under the picture read, nice try, but your name is actually Adam Martin.
Ooh.
Don't try to fool us. Adam began to get scared and tried to exit the website.
Yeah, I would have get off
To
this
his
shit too.
disbelief, everything was frozen.
Ugh.
The mouse refused to move, and he was unable to turn off the computer. Suddenly, his picture appeared on the site. The animated person holding it like a photograph. Under the picture appeared his address on another banner.
Damn, they got this
Now we
shit
have
so
your face
fast.
and address. We'll be over at your house in 20 minutes. Don't try to hide or call anyone. It's useless. She really wants to meet you. Adam screamed and threw his laptop on the floor. The screen became black.
Don't try to call
We
him, but
tried
just
his cell phone,
accept it that you're gonna be
but had found it
taken.
not working.
Like, fuck you.
And he had no landline.
Like, yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and not do
He then
anything.
rushed to get a weapon, choosing a baseball bat. No sooner than he had done that, his doorbell rang. It rang once, then twice. A woman's voice
And
suddenly
then 3
said,
times.
hello, Adam? I've come to meet you. Open the door, please. Her voice had been pleasant and not threatening. But Adam peeked out a window near the door and saw her. She was dressed in a long dark blue dress that looked like an old prom gown. She had long dark hair that looked like it needed to be brushed, and strangely thin, ribs visible at the sides.
Damn.
Her eyes had a blank stare and were bloodshot red. Mascara and eyeliner barely covered dark circles and bags under her eyes. She looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. She was wearing dark red lipstick that was smudged over her cheek.
I know you're there.
She said in a creepy way. He finally looked. In her left hand was a large meat cleaver,
Oh my
which looked like it
God.
had been used already. She began to knock on the door with the cleaver.
Oh,
Come on.
these stories are so
Open the
wild.
door. You said you wanted to meet. Open up.
Suddenly, a neighbor's
Felt
dog
like I'd
began to
never
bark
said
loudly,
that.
getting
He
her
didn't even
attention.
get to that part.
He saw her walk away with a smirking smile. He hid under his kitchen table, finally trying his cell phone again. To his relief, it was working again. But as he began to get in contact with the police, he heard the dog next door let out a loud yelp. Then what sounded like someone chopping something. The dog had gone quiet, but the
Wow.
chopping sounds continued. Still talking to the dispatcher, Adam heard someone walk up to his door again, ring the doorbell once, then footsteps ran away. The dispatcher advised him to open the door, and the police would arrive shortly and say a code word to let him know. The 10 minutes it took for them to arrive felt like an hour. After the police gave a code word, Adam opened the door and was greeted with a gruesome sight. On the path to the door lay his neighbor's dog, a German Shepherd. It looked bad, barely recognizable. On his back was a message that said, "Next time, I'll meet you." But it spelled meat as in M-E-A-T. Unfortunately, the woman was never found, and
Wow.
the website couldn't be located. Adam ended up giving his neighbor a new dog. Then he moved to another place. Although, he did eventually find a girlfriend. The guilt and fear he'd felt that night weighed heavily on his mind. He told me he luckily been smart enough to not open the door for the woman in the prom dress. I was glad he didn't.
Well, yeah. Why would you
But I
open the
sometimes
door?
wonder if anyone was unfortunate enough to open that door for the crazy prom queen with a meat cleaver. I almost don't want to know.
Yeah, that'd be stupid. Especially the events that led up to that. Like, oh, we coming over. Don't call anybody. Don't try to leave. It's useless. Like, and then they say we coming. And you gonna open the door? Like the next person that came to my door, I'm assuming they ain't coots with with those people. Like, get the fucking way over my door. Especially if man, I might have to restart my computer. The frame rate was down to 12. Like, god damn. Sheesh. Well, I don't think I'll pause, but I can just put the regular video up. The download video. But yeah, why would you open your door for that? You can see her. See something is clearly wrong with her. She has a meat cleaver that looks like it's got dried blood on it. It like it's been used. She's like, she's like he said that she's skinny, all sunken in. You can see her ribs on the side of the dress. Her hair is all disheveled. Like all this stuff, all these red flags. They like, why would you open the door? I don't care who you are. You be Mike Tyson in his prime. Why would you open the door? Like, this person has a meat cleaver. If you can see that, I guess if you just opened the door, like, and didn't look out, didn't check to see who it was, you just opened it. Even though these people told you they on their way, I would assume whoever's the next person that comes to my house is in cahoots. Like why the fuck would I open the door? And then the other one, the people taking pictures and leaving it at, well, that woman was taking a picture of him. Like what kind of, was she a locksmith? Like she just pick the lock, get in, take pictures of you, and then leave. Like she fucking worked for the League of Assassins? Like what the fuck? take pictures, and then she was like, "All right, I'm done with playing games. Now I got." She had a lock, like a kennel for this motherfucker. She gonna kidnap him and put him in there. So she want him to be her husband. And then it's like they said she's the one that sent all the messages and all this stuff. That she was her, from what they said. So like, why does she need Bitcoin? Why did she like send me the Bitcoin? And he said he had just enough money to that he got from the donations to get the 2 Bitcoin that she wanted. And it seemed like she knew that. So it's like, oh, you have just enough money to buy 2 Bitcoin, so I want 2 Bitcoin. You know, well, the donate, because she said she could see everything he had, because she had name, address, bank accounts, all his passwords. She had everything on this motherfucker. Then following this dude, taking pictures of this dude. That's what, like, because he went to his friends. I was like, how did she know? I was like, she got to be following him, yep. Because she's obsessed. He had a stalker who was also tech savvy. But, yeah, that's, I mean, I know all these things. None of these true. I mean, I know the dark, the dark web or the deep web or whatever. I don't think I've ever heard of anything about, like, real, like, snuff films. Even, like, I watched up with, like, FBI people who crack down on those sites, like the Silk Road and stuff like that. They never seen or investigated anything like someone having like a snuff film type site. So they, have videos of them. They see you kill someone live, or I think I did read somewhere they had like like human trafficking, like or like people sell like children and shit like that, or women and stuff like that. But and most is drugs. Cause I had a friend back in the day. He on that. He said he told me he was on the Silk Road when he was on his computer. I ain't know what the fuck was this. And he was getting something from there. And I was just like, I don't even want. I said, if somebody come up in here or see me around you, I don't want to know, because I'm not getting wrapped up in this. So like, don't tell me nothing. That way I don't know anything, so I can't. It's not lying, because I don't know. Because I've had to happen when I was in the Air Force. I talked to one dude once, standing outside the dormitory. This was when I think the first year I was in. This guy had a Hummer. Now he came in after me, so we were making pretty much the same amount of money, which you have nowhere near enough money to buy a Hummer. So you knew he was doing. I was like, dude, I said either his parents bought him that, because he was the same age I was, because I was I think I had turned 22 by then, because it was still my first year, and yeah, because I went in, I was 21. And I had security forces like coming around. I think what they call OSI. I think they call them. Well, they not like the security force, like the kind of like the uniform type officer. And then the OSI is like the they like detectives, kind of like. And I remember they came up and talking to me. They asked me, like, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? And they were waiting. They got it, because I pulled up and was going into the dormitory, and they stopped me. And they started asking me questions about that guy. And I didn't even remember his name. I'm horrible at remembering people's names. And they was asking me questions, and he was like, the guy owns a Hummer. And I was like, oh, okay. And apparently it has something to do with him selling drugs or something. And then they was around there asking some other people, and a friend of mine said they asked him, because he was standing there when we was talking, because he was talking to another friend of ours. I think they had the same job, so they knew each other. They worked together, and and I was just like I don't know. That was the first time I talked to that dude. I don't know nothing about nothing. And they kept trying to. I said, I don't know. I don't get in people's business like that. I don't know. I said, I don't know nothing about him. They said, you ever seen him like deal with drugs or anything, or do any type of drug stuff like that? And I was like, nope. Which I hadn't. So I was like, and something happened with I didn't see the van, the Hummer. Like this was months down the line, and I kind of forgot about it. And I didn't see the Hummer, and I was like, huh, that was that, because the Hummer is pretty distinctive. It's a white Hummer in the dorms. Like no one had cars like that. Like because we weren't making that type of money. Now it's a lot, and quite a few people had cars that their parents bought them. You know, when they or gave them one of their cars. You know, when they, especially an older car that they had, and or some of them, you know, they start making a little bit more money. So they like I did when I bought my first car, and my dad co-signed it, so I was paying the car note. But then I heard something about that he got him and a few other people, like I don't know, they was selling spice or some shit, some call like that. I think it was because that happened again. Like later on, there was some big thing about spice. I heard about that when I was over in Afghanistan. They was talking about spice, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, it is some type of drug. I forget. I've read up on it, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Because I remember I was working in retirements and separations at the time when the Air Force was trying to downsize. They needed to get down to 100,000 people. I think they had like 100. Now I don't remember the exact number. I forget the exact number they said when they told us in the briefing how many we actually had at the time. Like personnel, we had to, because they cut our budget. We had to get down to 100,000. And I was, and that happened. I wasn't working in retirements and separation at the beginning of that, but like it was more so closer to the end. And they only had one person that was working in it, so they moved me to it. And it was quite a few people had kicked out because of spite. They started kicking people out just left for any reason. Oh, you failed. One dude failed a PT test or fitness test 7 times. He was a master. He's a master sergeant. And I was like, you failed 7 times and you ain't get kicked out before then? But they didn't. They were forcing him to retire. Because he was at the point where he could retire. So he's like, well, you gotta just retire now. But yeah, I saw a lot of people come through there, like talking about they did spice or something, and they had to be escorted by security forces, stuff like that. And as I was like, I don't want to know you doing this stuff. I'm like, if it's like you smoking weed or something like that, like you doing the drugs, like, okay, I've had plenty of friends that smoke weed. I have friends that did cocaine in front of me. But when you talk about you selling it, I'm like, don't involve me in that. Because I had a friend, how old was I? I think I was 18. And well, he wasn't really my friend, he's my cousin. And he came, his dad came to visit, and he was with him. So my dad was like, hey, why don't you go hang out? You know, I'll hang out and stuff like this. So I took the car, and we was just kind of driving around. We drove to Hattiesburg. This is when I was living in Mississippi. And this is like the summer before Hurricane Katrina. And Hurricane Katrina was August the 25th or the 29th, something like that. But this was like it was sometime in the summer. I remember before Hurricane Katrina. And this dude asked me to stop off at Turtle Creek Mall, which is in Hattiesburg. I don't know if that mall is still there. It probably is. We pull over there. I'm thinking he want to go inside. He said pull up next to his car. This dude gets out. Gets in their car. He said, give me a minute. He gets in their fucking car. And I'm just sitting there. And I don't know how much time, right? Like, it wasn't even that minute, like maybe 2 minutes. He gets back in my car with some money in his hand. Because I saw he was reaching his pocket when he was getting in the car. He was pulling and not getting in the car, reaching his pocket at the same time. And he put some, I said, what are you doing? I said, somebody owe you some money or something like that? And he said, nah, man, maybe I just, had a deal going. He didn't have transportation to get up there. So he decided, because he was on the phone, we was going on our way up there. And I didn't know he was talking. I didn't, like, the way he was talking, I wasn't even really paying attention. Cause I don't really pay attention to people conversation like that. Probably because I don't like people listening when I'm talking on the phone. Cause I be on the phone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like people be talking to their girlfriend or boyfriend. They become just like whispering like they don't want people to know. I talk like that to everybody on the phone. I can be talking to somebody about anything, and I'm like, yeah. Well, yeah, I can meet you now. Like, I don't know. And then he told me he just just making a little deal. I said, man, I know I just met you. I said, don't you ever do some shit like that again. I said, don't involve me in that. He's like, nah, man. I said, yes, you did. I said, if the police had pulled up here and saw you doing a drug deal, and I'm in the fucking car, I'm driving, and then you get back in my car, they see you, they know what you're doing, because they got probable cause. They say, hey, we saw this dude get in the car, and the passenger seat of another, get out of one passenger seat and get into another passenger seat, and they get right back out to like 2 minutes and get back in the car. Like, come on. Anybody been around anyone who has sold drugs? Like, I don't know what that shit is. I know what that means. And I said, don't ever do that shit again. And then I got upset, and I was like, I'm tired of being out here. And I drove back. I drove back to Columbia. I remember I didn't even really talk to him. I was like, yeah, and I kind of went to my room and sat in my room. I didn't even talk to that dude after that. I don't even know. I heard my dad said like years ago that he had went to jail a couple of times for like selling drugs, and he got arrested for, I think he beat up his girlfriend or something like that, or he slapped his girlfriend or some shit like that. He just beat her up, but he got arrested for like domestic violence or assault. I was like, don't involve. Like, you could have told me. Like, one time I did that with a chick when I was in Florida, and she told me, she like, hey, I'm gonna go down here. She wanted to go buy some marijuana, and she walking down the street. Neither one of us had a car, so as I said, and she's like, can you kind of come with me, because she was going with, it was a dude selling it, so she was kind of nervous. She didn't know the guy because she wasn't from there. So, but I was like, but you got a contact. So it's funny how people do that shit. Like they go to a completely different state and don't know anybody, but somehow find a weed person, like somebody to buy drugs off. And I said, yeah, I'll go with you. And so he walked down, I don't know, he walked like a couple blocks. And the dude was gonna meet us, and he's standing there, the guy standing there at the corner. I said, really, we gonna meet on the corner and do a fucking exchange of drugs and money? It's like on the corner. And then it was like around, I don't know, like 5 o'clock. So there was a lot of cars like driving by too. So I was like, people getting off work and driving, and we in a residential area. So people just see us and shit. But yeah, I just went over, and the dude was just looking at me. He had a do-rag and wife beater on and shit. And I was like, it's like the stereotypical drug deal like you'll see in like a Dare commercial. I was like, look, I guess the stereotypes for a reason. And she made the deal. And first she was nervous because of all the cars. I was like, yes, dude. It's like rush hour. It's 5 o'clock. People getting off work, and you want to do this I say, if anything, we probably should have done this I'm probably not in a business for that cameras and stuff, but like I don't know, like not at a corner of a major road, at the entrance to where it into this residential area, you know. And then anyway, she made the deal, and then we just walked by, and she ended up smoking and falling asleep, and I ended up leaving. But that was it. But yeah, never. I just like that because my friend was on that. He's talking about he's on that Silk Road site and all that shit. I was like, man, I don't want to know. He's trying to talk to me. I don't want to know because I don't want nobody ask me nothing because I don't want to have to lie because if they talking about pinning me up or something, or I'm an accessory or some bullshit, or no, so I'm obstructing justice because I'm like and also I'm not lying for you. That's what I tell people. I said, don't get me involved in shit. And think I'm gonna lie for you. Like that shit ain't happening. I ain't going to jail for nobody. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed my reaction, everyone. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button down below. Make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll be notified when I upload the videos. Comment down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.